Prince Charles has been in the spotlight since he was born. The oldest child of Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip, the Prince of Wales has had his fair share of awkward slip-ups, bumbling comments, and tense public interactions. These are the most awkward Prince Charles moments yet. Charles and Diana's relationship infamously started off on bad footing. As they spoke to the press after their engagement, Charles wasn't exactly gushing about his bride. According to Harper's Bazaar, the newly attached couple were told by a journalist that they appeared to be very much in love, to which Diana replied, quote, "Of course," and to which Charles added,
"Whatever in love means."
Yeah. The brutal comment caused a stir once again when the revealing moment was portrayed on Season 4 of The Crown.
You both look very much in love.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Whatever in love means.
Fans today just couldn't believe that Charles had actually said anything of the sort, and back then, neither could Diana. She once recalled in an interview via Today, Charles turned around and said, "Whatever in love means," and that threw me completely. I thought, what a strange answer. God, absolutely traumatized me. Just days before Charles and Diana's wedding, the couple sat down with the BBC. But what could have been a glimpse into the romance shared between them instead became one of their most awkward TV appearances.
Prince Charles has been a great help to you in that relationship.
Wow, that is tower of strength.
Precious.
I had to say that because you're sitting there.
Angela Rippon, one of the original interviewers, looked back on the sit-down, writing for The Telegraph in 2020. Watching the interview now, a number of moments which we dismissed as shy Diana gestures or good-natured joshing are fraught with meaning. I brought the interview to a close by thanking them both and saying, in effect, on behalf of the whole nation, our warmest congratulations to you both. And we all wish you a long and happy life together. She looked away to the left and down at the floor. Today, I read that reaction quite differently and with genuine sadness.
We wish you all the happiness in the world.
Thank you very much.
Rippon's interview captured the awkwardness between Charles and Diana, and in hindsight, it was a devastating precursor for what was to come. It seemed like everyone in the United Kingdom was wildly celebrating Charles and Diana's royal wedding. That is, except for Charles and Diana. As noted by O Magazine, Diana was extremely apprehensive about the event and even wanted to call it off, mostly because she had already discovered Charles's illicit relationship with Camilla. Andrew Morton wrote in his 1992 book, Diana, in her own words, "At the time he was seeing Camilla, Diana had lunch with her sisters at Buckingham Palace and discussed her predicament with them. She was confused, upset, and bewildered by the train of events. At that moment, as she seriously considered calling off the wedding, they made light of her fears and premonitions of the disaster which lay ahead.
To love and to cherish,
Love and to cherish,
till death us do part.
till death us do part."
To top off an already very uncomfortable day for the couple, Charles reportedly forgot to kiss Diana at the end of their wedding ceremony, and only did so when they were later standing on the balcony at Buckingham Palace, and apparently only for the throngs of fans who were egging them on. Charles clearly did not like speaking about Diana or addressing the rampant rumors of his own infidelity. But that didn't stop Jonathan Dimbleby from insisting on asking the prince about his rocky marriage in 1994 when he said to Charles, "The most damaging charge that is made in relation to your marriage is that because of your relationship with Camilla Parker Bowles from the beginning, you were persistently unfaithful to your wife and thus caused the breakdown." Visibly irritated, Charles responded,
These things, again, as I was saying earlier, are so personal. There's been so much speculation.
The prince then added, "All I can say is Mrs. Parker Bowles is a great friend of mine. I have a large number of friends that I am terribly lucky to have. When marriages break down, awful and miserable as that is, it is most often that your friends are the most important and helpful and understanding." Nothing seemed as tense as when Charles was caught on camera saying that he'd be better off having 2 wives. At the time, Charles and Diana were on a royal visit to South Korea when Charles gave an impromptu speech for national officials. Claiming the crowds who were swarming Diana would be better off if there were 2 Dianas, one for each side of the street, he added,
"I've come to the conclusion that really it would have been far easier to have had 2 wives."
Yet, according to Express, it wasn't the first time he said it. Charles made a similar joke while the couple toured New Zealand in 1983. Royal biographer Andrew Morton told the outlet, "Diana was seething and dying inside because she was jealous and angry at Charles's relationship with Camilla Parker Bowles." Perhaps no photo of Diana is more recognizable and iconic than her portrait at the Taj Mahal. But it was the uncomfortable dynamic not caught on camera that spoke volumes about her marriage to Charles. As noted by the BBC, Diana visited the monument in 1992 while Charles was tending to other royal matters in the city. And according to People, when Diana was asked by the press about her visit, she initially offered, "It was a fascinating experience, very healing." But when pressed for a less diplomatic answer, she changed her tune, telling the interviewer, "You work that out for yourself." Apparently, the whole ordeal made Charles incredibly angry, likely throwing even more fuel on an already blazing fire. Journalist Tina Brown told Express, "That picture of Diana as a lonely, neglected, beautiful girl who didn't have anyone to love her back just broke everybody's hearts. She knew what she was doing, and it made Charles absolutely crazy." The couple officially called it quits later that year.
Be a light unto the nations, to guide the generations that follow.
Cringeworthy moments between celebrities tend to go viral, and that was the case when Prince Charles seemingly snubbed Vice President Mike Pence in early 2020. As Charles greeted a line of world leaders and dignitaries, he completely skipped over Pence, causing the Veep to give the prince a very awkward pat on the arm as he walked past. According to the BBC, the snub was by no means intentional, and the palace released a statement claiming Charles and Pence had a, quote, long and warm conversation before the ceremony took place. So while it looked like there was some tension, there apparently wasn't. But it wasn't the first time that an official from the White House experienced awkward press coverage in regard to the royal family. According to the outlet, President Trump got into uncomfortable territory when the Queen was seemingly left waiting for him to arrive, reportedly looking at her watch while anticipating his entrance. But as always, Her Majesty graciously took it all in stride. While visiting New Zealand in 2015, Charles and Camilla had a bit of a run-in with an unruly bumblebee. During a tour of an eco-sanctuary, they were seated in front of photographers, the prince holding a reptile, when a bee got a little too close for comfort. As noted by Sky News, the insect made its way to Camilla first, who shooed it out of the way. It then made a beeline for Charles, who let out a little yelp. We'd be lying if we said we wouldn't have done the same. But the moment between the heir to the British throne and a tiny bumblebee was too funny. The outlet reported, after what was only a split second but might have felt a lot longer to Charles, the bee flew away and the prince visibly laughed with relief.
And take a look at how amazing nature is and what nature does for us.
It turns out that more than one of Prince Charles's funniest and most awkward moments involves the great outdoors. While attending the annual Sandringham Flower Show, Charles and Camilla came face to face with a 4-year-old eagle named Zephyr, and the photos are solid gold. The royal couple were talking to Zephyr's handler when the massive eagle flapped his wings and caught the prince and his wife completely by surprise. According to People, the couple had actually met Zephyr at the flower show the previous year, but he hadn't shown off his crazy wingspan at the time. Of course, the photos went viral, and a spokesperson for the prince released a statement claiming it was less dramatic than the pictures suggest.
Quite a few run-ins over the years with the Spice Girls as well.
And great fun anyway, you know.
It was like two fandoms had united when Charles met the Spice Girls in 1997 at a royal gala. But things between the prince and the girl group got awkward fast. As noted by Time, it was the Spice Girls' first major British appearance, and given that Wannabe was sitting at #1 on the UK charts at the time, it was no wonder they were invited. But things went downhill quickly. Mel B and Jerry Halliwell both broke royal protocol when they kissed Charles on the cheek, and Mel took it even further when she asked Charles if the group could, quote, score a dinner invite, later recommending that he get his tongue pierced. Ginger then chimed in, telling Charles how hot she thought he was, and proceeded to give him a pat on the butt. Back in the 80s, it was no secret that Charles was jealous of the massive attention on Diana, but never was it so severe as when the couple visited New Zealand. They had only been married for 2 years and were new parents to William, but the crowd swarmed Diana wherever she went. According to the New Zealand Herald, day after day, the hordes waited in the heat for hours on end for the chance to glimpse a real-life princess. And day after day after day, Charles was made to confront his wife's newfound superstar status.
We can only hope that we've given them something back, that we've given something back to the many individuals in the crowds.
It was a media blitz that Charles reportedly couldn't handle. Diana explained to the BBC, "The pressure on us both as a couple with the media was phenomenal and misunderstood by a great many people. With the media attention came a lot of jealousy." It would be the final nail in the coffin for Charles and Diana's marriage. In 1995, Diana gave an interview with the BBC where she told the truth about her relationship. But the couple's issues were evident even earlier that year, when the pair looked more like school chaperones than a loving couple. Even so, the real damage was done to the royal family when Diana said she didn't think Charles would make a good king, revealing, "I would think that the top job, as I call it, would bring enormous limitations to him, and I don't know whether he could adapt to that." The fallout from the interview was severe, and according to Town & Country, the Queen wrote to both Charles and Diana urging them to divorce. By August of '96, just 9 months later, the split was official. One particular exchange between Charles and Camilla completely rocked the royal family to its core when it was leaked. As noted by the Mirror, a transcript of a 1989 phone conversation between Charles and Camilla was released just a month after the Prince and Diana announced their official separation in 1992. The pair, whose continuing affair seemed like the worst-kept secret in the kingdom, exchanged sentiments like the relatively tame, "I can't bear a Sunday night without you. Oh God, I'll just live inside your trousers or something. It would be much easier," to far more salacious suggestions. The leaked audio was even given the nickname Camillagate and was one of the first concrete pieces of evidence of the relationship between Charles and Camilla. For her part, Diana called the conversation, quote, "sick."
Have you heard the news? Isn't it joyous? I mean, just look at this vision.
Prince Charles and Camilla finally made it official in 2005, but tensions still appear to exist between the wedded couple and the rest of the royal family. Body language expert Judy James detailed an event in 2020, telling Express, "The Queen actively chats to the band, engaging Charles in the conversation, while Camilla stands back slightly with her rigidly placed arms suggesting an air of tension or awkwardness." But it's not the first time that the Queen made her thoughts about Camilla known. As People reported, Elizabeth once had a few too many martinis and confronted Charles, calling Camilla, quote, "that wicked woman," and saying that she didn't want to have anything to do with her. Yikes. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more list videos about your favorite celebs are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.